Ramage Show, presented by Quick Trip. What is up, everybody? I got the man, the myth, the legend. We're a little bit late, but better late than never. I got Wes Hodkiewicz. First of all, your name is very hard to spell. But before we get it chatting with Wes, I want to talk to you a little bit about Quick Trip because they sponsor the show and they're so cool because nobody else would. So big shout out to them, and they have their own podcast coming up in the very near future. I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but they said I get to be a guest, and I'm very stoked about that. I would rather talk about Quick Trip than all this Packer stuff all time, but watch out for that. Go get your Quick Rewards card and go get you some Quick Trip, you know what I mean? And get some plays. But anyways, let's get into this thing. We got Wes up in the building, you know what I mean?
I'm going to cut you off right there, Matt, because you mentioned wanted to talk about Quick Trip. So believe it or not, I had never been exposed to not exposed, it sounds like a negative term, but I'd never been immersed in the celebration of food that is the Quick Trip lunch option. And I have an assistant at the Packers by the name of Nicole Tim, and I've been trying over and over again to get her some love from Quick Trip because she is like a super fan. She is a Matt Ramage level super fan of Quick Trip. She finally convinced me to go in there, and and this is not a plug, it's not a sponsor, nothing like that. It has worked its way now into the rotation. I didn't believe it at first, but it is an incredible lunchtime experience. Whether it's I think I've had the BBQ chicken already, some chicken tenders. Like, it's legit. I got to give it credit.
Yeah, those chicken tendies, bro, they are so good.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think, because obviously I talk about Quick Trip. Even before he sponsored me, I was always talking about Quick Trip. It's kind of like my thing, which was cool that they sponsored me for that reason. But, like, when I had the chicken tenders, I was like, how can chicken tenders at a gas station be good? They're so good, bro.
Everybody's getting all excited about Chick-fil-A coming into Green Bay. I'll tell you what, like, those tenders, they're just as good. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I want to give a big shout-out over here to Sam. Tunes into a lot of my shows when he's not suspended from Facebook. But for right now, he's obviously not. Big shout out to Sam. But so everyone, for today, all right, we have a great guest. First of all, like I was saying, your name is very hard to spell. Mm-hmm. We got Wes.
Hard to say.
Hodkiewicz. Am I saying that right?
You added a G in there, but it's fine. There's no problem there.
Hodkiewicz.
Hodkiewicz. Yep.
Hodkiewicz.
There's a lot of different ways you can do it.
So like when you're a little buzzed up, you add letters. Sometimes they don't need to be there. But you're the Packers digital reporter.
That's correct.
You're the probably the best digital reporter of all time.
Thank you.
But I had Andy Herman on last night. I wasn't as buzzed up as I should have been for that one, but he's always good. So we talked a lot last night about a lot of the stuff, and I want to ask you about some of it, but I don't want to keep talking about the same stuff. So I'm going to mix it in a little bit. I want people to learn a little bit because we might not have as many live viewers tonight because people during the off season, I don't know where they go, but they're like, John. But on the rewatch, people listen to the podcast. But I want people to learn a little bit about Wes. I think that's what people want to know, dude.
Do they really?
Yeah. Not like deep, I'm not going to ask you about your first kiss or like where you met your wife or anything like that. But like, we're going to get into a little bit of like, just a broad,
Hey, it actually, not even lying to you, it actually is my 9th anniversary today. So
really?
My
and you're
wife
talking to me?
God bless her. She's downstairs right now. I've been with Katie. We got together in 2005. So we've been together for, what is that now? We're going on 17 years. So Katie's downstairs with our son. She was making him some pumpkin muffins and getting him ready for bed and dinner and all that good stuff. So she let me peace out up here for a little bit to come up here. But yeah, she's a saint. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman.
I'll try to keep this really short for her. I'm sure she's tuning in, or she will later.
She has it playing in the background.
She's like, I have to see what Matt's gonna ask. But that big props to you for even popping in. But I will try to keep this short then, since let whatever let you enjoy your evening on your anniversary. Good. But First of all, I want to talk about the pack. First of all, before we get started, because we always do this at the end, and I feel like a lot of people don't watch till the end. Where can people find you? Like, where do you
Yeah.
do like all your stuff?
Yeah, so Packers.com, I'm actually going on my 6-year anniversary already over there, which I cannot believe, Matt. It has flown by. I was with the Press Gazette for 10 years before that. So Packers.com at Twitter, weshod.com at Twitter, twitter.com at weshod. I also finally last year started an Instagram too. It's not as much of a hotbed of content like yours is, but at Wes Hot on Twitter too. That's it. That's as far as I go in the social media world. No TikToks.
No TikTok. You should, and you should make more Instagram videos. Like you should just go on there ranting and raving about the Bears. You're a professional guy though. You
I am.
You work directly for the Packers, so if you did most of the stuff I do, you'd probably get fired. That day.
It's about trying to stay employed every single day. No, I mean, isn't that what's cool about it though, dude? I mean, like you've seen this on so many different levels, so many different mediums. Doesn't even have to be football or the Packers, but there's a million different ways to provide content, to provide analysis, provide information. I mean, you talk about having Andy on here too. I mean, Andy's done an exemplary job of it as well. I mean, there's so many different ways to sort of feed that Packers appetite that you don't have to be buzzed up. You can be, sitting here sipping Mountain Dew energy and be fine too. I mean, it's just there's a lot of different ways to go about doing it. It's fun. It makes it fun.
No, I think that's like so true. I actually get buzzed up a lot of time, or some of the time because like last night I wasn't buzzed up. I have a few, but like I get nervous like sometimes talking to people like Andy
Really?
Herman. Andy Herman is like the one person who I still get nervous talking to because he's
Really?
so smart. Not that you're not smart because you're smart, but Andy, like he started the whole Pack a Day podcast, and like I'm not like in awe shucks of him. I mean, he's a good guy. He's not like he's gonna yell at me like, "Why don't you know that?" You know what I mean? But he's just, I think he's very good. I think he's very, very, like talking to like super smart people, like even like outside of football stuff. I'm not that clever, but no, Andy's awesome. I think he's one of the most knowledgeable football people.
Well,
like talking football. Not that you're not too. You're
no. Andy's great, and it's cool how everyone has their niche though, right? Like Andy loves breaking down film. He loves doing the grading stuff. Even when I was at the Press Gazette, when I used to do that stuff, I didn't fall in love with it, the same way that a lot of those guys do. And not that I didn't try hard. I did. I put a lot of work into it, but it was work for me. I can tell with Andy and stuff like that. It's stuff that he really enjoys. On my side of things, I love breaking down defenses and things, but I don't know if I necessarily get as enamored with, offensive and defensive line play. I enjoy writing stories. I enjoy covering the team. I enjoy bringing to light different backgrounds of players that maybe people didn't know about. And again, that goes back to what I said from the beginning. I mean, there's so many different ways to feed that beast, and Andy's great. And it's been fun. I've actually got to be able to really kind of have a nice little friendship with him over the last few years, getting to know him a little bit better and better. And he's great.
He's awesome. The last thing I'll say about this is like I remember when I first started getting into this podcasting thing because I was making videos, the eyes, trashing the Bears, doing the things. I wasn't podcasting then. When I first started getting into it, and I was like starting to get serious, for like I actually want to try to actually do this, not just like horse around.
Yeah.
I DM'd him on Twitter now because we talked a little bit, and I was like, "Do you have any advice to like do this podcast thing?" And which I've got a lot of messages, from other people, and like. Not then, but now. But like, so back in the day, I said, what advice would you give me? He's like, don't try to be me or anyone else. Just be you, have fun, do your thing, do what you do. Don't try to, and first of all, I couldn't. So that worked so well. But, all right, we'll move on. But big shout out to Pack a Day Podcast. Everyone should go check that out. But I want to talk to you a little bit. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this short so you can get back to your anniversary. And,
You're good. You're good.
I'd have your wife, your anniversary be your divorce date at the same time. I don't need your wife hunting me down. But Aaron Rodgers, like I assume, you work for the Packers. Like you have an office in that building. Mm-hmm. I'm barely allowed in that building. So you have an office. Like, do you have Aaron Rodgers' number? Can we call him right now?
I do not. I have some guys' numbers. I'm not on the Aaron Rodgers phone number thing. But that's not necessarily a negative thing either. I mean, it works out that way. There's a lot of different ways that people cross paths in this business. But I will say, even back in my 4.5 years at the Press Gazette, I've always said this because people ask me, how's Aaron Rodgers? And I'm not in his posse. And, we're not like texting about, random shows. You are, absolutely. But the story I always like to tell is he's always been fair to me on both sides of it. I felt like he was very fair to me on the Press Gazette side. I felt like when I came over to the Packers, I wasn't asking for anybody to throw bouquets at me. I wasn't asking for a parade. I just wanted to do my job. I wanted to support my family. And honestly, I think anybody understanding the transition from a newspaper to working for an NFL team, that's a difficult type of thing to go about doing. So whether it was him, Mike McCarthy, I will never not stop saying enough nice things about Mike McCarthy and James Campen and how welcoming they were on that side of things. Jordy Nelson, Mike Daniels. There are a number of people that made that transition really easy for me when it really wasn't. And, again, you can cover the football side of it, you can cover the personal side of it. I don't really get into all the other aspects of it, but my experience is, completely professional and has always been a really solid dude. And if he wants my number, I can definitely, provide that.
I DM him a lot. He hasn't responded yet.
Still working on that one?
Or even seen it. On Instagram it says seen. Aaron Rodgers has yet to see what I'm not Joey the Jaguar. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get seen. I often wonder because I made a lot of videos tagging Aaron Rodgers, like whether I'm, ranting, defending him all the time. I always wondered like if he's seen me and he was like, this dude, like, one way or the other, like this dude's crazy. Or I assume he would like me a little bit because I defend him, even if he's.
Like, my guess. And this is not to, I'm sure he sees every single tweet you send, but you know what I was thinking about? So maybe, I don't know if it's like this for you too, but when is, for me, the time in which my Twitter blows up the most is after games, right? Where good, bad, or the ugly, my mentions just go nuts throughout the game and afterwards. And again, this has nothing to do with me. I cover the Packers. People don't come for Wes Hodkiewicz. They come for Packers content and information, but it moves so fast that it is almost virtually impossible to go back and actually, if you haven't been following it, to be able to catch up on everything that people are saying. And I know people say at times they read Twitter, they don't read Twitter. It's not easy to do, especially in those heat of the moment type of things. Now, maybe there was a certain Wednesday afternoon where maybe Matt Ramage got actually, retweeted by enough people that you see it. But it's interesting how that
social media is a wild place, like how it goes, because most of the stuff I see is just like Bear fans not liking what I say because I talk a lot of trash. Me and you were like kind of the opposite. Like you're a professional, you work for the Packers, and I'm just I'm a fan. I work at Cheese Factory, and I just rant and rave about whatever. It's funny because like most of the stuff, all my content, even the podcast stuff, comes from like what might trigger me that day. Not really trigger me where I'm like, I can't sleep at night, but like
what sparks
some
your
kind of
innovation.
Like story, like the Broncos. The Broncos fans last year talking about they're getting Aaron Rodgers, he's leaving, and now the same thing's happened this year. Like I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is leaving, and like I've been saying I think he's gonna stay, but if he doesn't, God bless. Like if it doesn't work out, the Packers and Rodgers decide it's time to go. I'm with whoever they got. If it's Jordan Love or if they decided someone else.
Yeah.
But I fully believe. But like, what do you think?
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, like, because I understand that you work for the Packers. I don't know how that works. Like,
no, yeah, I get to have opinions. I get to talk on things.
I know you do, but like, I don't know, like, if you know, like, some stuff, because you're walking on the hallway. You got Mark Murphy. If you ever cross and he's saying something, and you just lean in on him, like, what's that, old Marky boy? What you got? What are you saying over here, buddy?
They do a pretty good job.
Before we get to that, does that ever happen when you're like in a hallway with a certain person, like two like office guys, like two like whatever Mark Murphy or other office people I never heard of that are really smart and important, and then they're talking, and then they see Wes coming, they're like, pipe down, we got the snitch, the snitcher's rolling down the hall, we got the reporter, like, shut it down. Does that happen?
Fortunately, 6 years in, I hope I'm not viewed as the snitch inside Lambeau Field. No, you know what? A couple things that one, COVID has changed everything. I don't really get a chance to be up on 3 or 4, which is the floors with football and football administration and that kind of thing. So that definitely has changed. I won't say that anybody's like trying to withhold information from me at all. I don't think that's the case, but typically, for example, Spoon put out the stuff, Tom Silverstein put out the stuff about Bisaccia and him being the new special teams coordinator. I wasn't privy to any of that. That was total news to me when I heard it. Now, you might have been able to tie some things together and understand that might have been the direction it goes. You look at the Joe Barry connection, it would make sense. But yeah, that type of stuff I'm not too privy to. But to your point about Rodgers, though, I would like to touch on this a little bit because we do our insider inbox Q&A, right? 20 some questions a day. And people, this is the question every single day. Doesn't matter what my reply is. We do it 6 days a week. Every day people are asking what's going to happen to Aaron Rodgers next season. I don't know, Matt. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but this is the statement I keep telling Packer fans. Compared to how things feel today on February 9th, as opposed to draft night 2021, the situation, how the relationship, I don't know if you want to call it repaired or built or whatever you want to say, but everyone is on the same page right now. At least that's what the reports are. That's what my feeling is. And everything that Aaron Rodgers has said seems to indicate that. Everyone's been saying the right things. Aaron Rodgers and this team got so close. And I know they got close the year before that too. And I know there's frustration on Packer fans and strong feelings. A lot of people were invested into a Super Bowl this season. But I just feel like where they're at and how they're built and how they could still do some massaging here with the cap to get into 2022, to me, it still makes sense for this unity to stay together. And I understand there's a lot of excitement about the next phase, who that quarterback will be. But as I keep telling people, we do need to live in the present a little bit here. Tomorrow night, we're very easily going to see Aaron Rodgers win his 4th MVP, go back-to-back. Most valuable player. Best player in the league. We're not talking about John Kitna here and trying to find the next guy, right? You're talking about the best in the game. Don't wish away that time. So my personal feeling is it's either going to be him deciding, you know what, I'm ready for the next phase of my life. I would respect that, or I would think he comes back. To me, unless there's something happening that I don't understand, I just feel like where things have headed, the season that they had, the way that this team stuck together, and the way that they persevered through a lot of adversity, it makes sense to me for Aaron Rodgers to be back for 2022.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm actually, because I was confident last year publicly, like I was very vocal, like screaming at people, and it was mostly because my heart, because I love Aaron Rodgers. I love the Packers. The Packers are obviously better with Aaron Rodgers, and so like last year I was very vocal, like just trash anyone who said anything other than Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay. I was just yelling at. I wouldn't say yelling at him, but I was ranting and raving, doing my thing. This year, I'm more confident than I was last year because, like, behind the scenes last year, because we didn't hear from Rodgers for a long time. So, like, silence says a few things. Like, obviously, there was a situation they ended up fixing it. He came back. This year, it seems a little different. Like he was talking about Brian Goot. I can't say his name. So
Gutekunst.
There we go. I can't say that name. And if I do say it, I'm going to disrespect him.
Goody. Yeah.
I'll call him Goody. But I feel like they're vibing a little bit. He's talking about Pat McAfee, like he even called him a friend. So I feel like, there's obviously a cap issue that's way over my head that they're going to figure out. But I feel like his best situation is being in Green Bay. And, you know what I mean? I'm a pretty good football analyst. That's my take.
Yeah, and I don't, and you know what the thing is, Matt? You don't have to have a strong take on the matter. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I think so much people are conditioned now to watching. No disrespect to them, but your talking head television, your ESPNs, all that type of stuff, and everybody has these really strong feelings on things. And this is what's going to happen. And this is what must happen. The reality is that's not the world we live in. It ultimately is also just Brian Gutekunst, Russ Ball, Matt LaFleur, the Packers administration, Aaron Rodgers deciding, okay, do we want to keep this thing going? And Rodgers, just listening to the way, he was talking at the end of the season, and I've covered him now for almost 10 years and he's always been very straightforward. I think that's something he doesn't get nearly enough credit for. He's a pretty straight shooter in terms of what he wants and where things are headed. And, he wasn't ever talking 5 years ago about, I'm thinking about retirement. No, he always talked about playing into his 40s. Now, as he gets closer to that, if he wants to change that, fine. He's entitled to that. But it's not like this guy's been really wishy-washy on things. He's been pretty much telling the Packers what they want to do. And if you look at this past season, whether it was bringing back Randall Cobb or adding a Devondre Campbell or bringing in a Rasul Douglas, or when they needed to, they tried Jalen Smith. It didn't work out, but they at least put that line out there. They found Dennis Kelly. Brian Gutekunst did a fantastic job of building this roster.
He really did.
And I thought that partnership, everybody included, did a really good job of working off each other. I apologize to Packer fans. I feel for them. I know it didn't work out. I know it's going to be tough watching the Super Bowl on Sunday, but the fact of the matter is the Packers were back in the hunt, and to be back in that opportunity, that's something that if Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, I can't guarantee what that next step is going to be. Maybe it is another Hall of Fame quarterback. That'd be fantastic. Fantastic if it is, but you just don't want to wish away that time, because all the present is what we have right now. So,
yeah, and absolutely. And first of all, I want to get this comment because I think it's great. From Iowa Joe, he said, "Disrespect the talking heads all you want, Wes. They deserve most of it, and not every single one of them."
No,
but but the thing with the media, and I don't mean the media, I don't mean the local media. I'm not talking about the people, because I trash the media a lot, and I always feel like certain people might think I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about local media. I'm talking about like CBS Sports on Facebook, because a lot of my stuff, I'm on Facebook, and it's not CBS like the people. It's just like people who run pages.
Yeah,
they want interaction. So they're like, Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos, and how could this look? And then they kind of throw the thing out there, or Aaron Rodgers to the Niners, and like they just throw all these things out there. And I'm not picking at CBS Sports, because there's a lot of them. And
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
And I actually like a lot of those pages. Like, I interact and I troll a little bit, and I have a good time with it. But like, that's what it is. Like, they need content. So they're like, hey, what if he went here? And I'm not even saying like this person is saying that. They're just like, what if?
No.
And then a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, that means he's going there. You know what I mean?
Here's the problem, though, Matt, because my dad is not a sophisticated man. He's a very successful man, and he'll done a lot better than I ever will in life. But he's not sophisticated in terms of being able to delineate what a ESPN headline is versus a heavy.com headline, for example. If people see headlines, they just equate to that's bona fide fact. That's one danger we've kind of ran into in society. If there's a story by Rob Domofsky, by Tom Silverstein, by Ryan Wood, by Matt Schneidman, by Jason Wilde, Bill Huber, the list goes on and on and on. Those are people that are here in Green Bay dealing with Aaron Rodgers, dealing with the Packers, dealing with the front office and Matt LaFleur. And nationally, that applies to a lot of people too. Mina Kimes, I mean, the amount of people that are doing fantastic work out there cannot be understated or overstated. But the fact of the matter is there's so many of these entities now that are the things that get brought up on aggregation, whether it be Facebook or some of these other things, that people don't know how to separate, because why would they? They don't work in these fields. They don't know these things. They see a headline on the internet and they believe it. So that's the number one thing I think is kind of plaguing the industry, because a lot of times all they're doing is rewriting or creating analysis based off of Rob's reporting, right? So
that is exactly what it is. And like, that is kind of like a lot of what I do on Facebook, is that there's so much fake stuff. There's so many fake pages that pop up on my feed because I'm interested in. And I troll.
That's what you like.
I see Viking stuff too, but because I troll them a lot. But like, so like on Facebook, like a lot of what I do is I see stuff on Twitter, like real stuff. And I'll go on Facebook and be like, yo, this is like what's really happening. Like, don't because a lot of people that they don't know, like people on Facebook, like, your aunt and like everyone else, they're like, they see a headline like, oh, Rodgers is going to the Broncos, or this is like really happening. And I think I feel like it's my duty to like share the real fact, and not that I'm not breaking news.
No,
I'm just bringing it from over. A lot of times it's just a screenshot like of your tweet or whoever Rob's tweets or whoever, the people who know stuff, and I just bring it over here and be like, hey, this is like what is reality. Anyways,
and just to really quickly to mention that too, think about it, because when you deal with media and reports and all this stuff, it's all great, and I understand it draws clicks and it draws views and all that thing. But at the end of the day, here's the beautiful part of this whole deal. Aaron Rodgers is going to tell you what he's going to do.
Yeah.
It's like we're trying to figure out the ending to a book that we don't know, and we don't know which page to look on. If you hold on about probably 2 or 3 weeks, the guy's going to actually give you the ending. You don't even have to do any homework on this thing. Like, but we work ourselves into a tizzy, and that's the part of it that drives me nuts with this stuff, is because people get so worked up and they develop these really strong reactions to things that they're not necessarily even fully educated on. Now, it's not their fault, but it's those emotions in that get brought up. So I think that what'll happen here the next few weeks, Davante Adams, hopefully that situation gets resolved. Rodgers, will make his call, and then you start building. Once those two dominoes fall, Matt, that's really where this whole offseason gets started.
That's what I want to ask about. I want to keep it short because I know your wife's probably down there like
she's probably doing fine.
But Davante
I can text her and see how she's doing.
No, if your phone buzzing, she's like, calm down here. Stop talking to that weird-eyed man.
I don't even need the phone. It's if my dog starts barking. That's when we know we have problems, because then she can't get to it right away.
Actually, like, I'll tell you this right now. Like, it's probably the same thing. I've been married for, like, a long time. This is probably going to get me in trouble. No, but, like, I've been married for, like, 20 years or something like that. I've been with my wife since I was 21. No, 18 or something. Anyways, I'm old as hell right now. But I can sense, like, if I walk in the house and my wife is mad, like, I remember, like, when I first got married, I used to ask her, are you mad at me? And then that would start a fight, because then she was mad at me. Obviously, why would I ask that if she wasn't? So then she'd be like, and then she would go on her thing. And I was deservedly to get that rant. But now, like, I can sense it when I walk in the house, and I don't ask her. Like, I know I don't need to ask her. I just try to avoid her. Like, maybe if I wait long enough, this storm will pass. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
just
a tornado.
Find shelter for a little bit.
Go in the basement, chill out for a while. Hopefully it passes. It might knock your house down. It might. And if it does, you deal with that situation. But
yeah,
so
we've all been there.
After you're married for a long time, you start to figure these things out. I'm just giving marriage advice to people. I'm just trying to help people out. But
it's a good subset. But
what do you got?
I was gonna say, just because I think you're gonna ask about, is it with the Adams? Is that where you're gonna kind of go with that?
Davante Adams, like how it works in. Do you think franchise tag, all the things that could happen? Does it have to do with Rodgers coming back? Like, can Davante come back and Rodgers not, or can Rodgers stay?
I'd like to see them.
All the things.
Yeah, I'd like to see them stay together. A couple of reasons for that. One, I always felt like we never really got the full, like, story book ending with Rodgers and Brady, right? And there's a lot of things that played into that. His ACL played into that too. That was a shame. But I feel like Davante is actually on a trajectory here to be the best of everyone, and maybe arguably be in that conversation as the best, second or third receiver of all time. Obviously, Don Hudson's in his own class, but with Adams in the career he's put together and the relationship and the rapport he's built with Rodgers, it's special. And you haven't seen a lot of these. Brady didn't get on a run with a receiver the way that Rodgers has gotten on a run with Adams. It's like, honestly, almost in that Montana Rice sort of mode right now. And obviously, Rice is the best to ever do it. I'm not trying to draw comparisons, but just in terms of being able to have a quarterback and receiver who are not only Hall of Fame talents, but known for the bond that they shared together. Adams wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league. I do not fault him for that. He deserves it. He deserves every penny he gets. There's a lot of complicated stuff that goes into that is well above my head. But one thing is then, I don't want to say the franchise tag word, because I know that's something probably Tay doesn't want to hear, but it's that tool. And it isn't necessarily that you even have to play on that, but it buys you time. The last time the Packers did it was 2010 with Ryan Pickett. They signed him to an extension 13 days later. It takes you off the market. It's a frustrating thing not to be able to get, everybody bidding on you for your services. And it's just the way the NFL works. So my hope would be is that they figure that out. They get that piece taken care of. They find a long-term contract that works for the Packers and Davante. And if Rodgers is back, you have to do some reworking with his contract, maybe add some years on. The thing that people have to understand, and I'm not an expert in terms of the salary cap stuff, but when you do a long-term deal, the proration of the signing bonus, depending on what that number is, that's going to lower that cap number early on. Aaron Rodgers' number really can only go down for next year if they would work out something else. Davante Adams, a little bit different, but there's so many different factors that play into that. And to be honest with you, all the years that I covered the NFL, my first few years where I was really following every single contract, all this stuff very closely, I always thought you got to make sure you keep a balanced book, because you get near the cap thing, you got to start cutting players. what the New Orleans Saints have done, to some
Yeah.
extent what the Packers did last year, it's opened my eyes to how flexible things are under the cap.
They just keep kicking it down the road.
Yeah. But it's still, it can work. And depending on when things change, it really only takes one season to get out of jail in terms of the cap too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that plays into it. But Rodgers, Adams, what they've built together, I'd love to see that continue, because honestly, Matt, more than just football, more than championships, you don't see two players get on a run like that together very often in the NFL. So I'd like to see that partnership go for as long as it can, with both of those guys playing at a high level.
And I think they both want that too. Every rumor you hear, like all the fake ones, it's like, oh, Rodgers wants Devontae, he wants MVS, and they're going to the Niners, or they're going to this team. First of all, I don't believe the Packers would. If they would trade, they wouldn't trade to the NFC. I mean, unless it was like really whatever. Anyways,
it's faux pas. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
If you're a contending team,
it would have to be like a monster situation or whatever. Like, Anyway, but I think it's best for. I think they both. Devontae Adams is better with Aaron Rodgers, but I want to make this clear, because I saw a lot of people talking about this. Talking about like Devontae Adams is a product of Aaron Rodgers, and it's absolutely not true. Like, obviously benefits, because any wide receiver is better with a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're better having Aaron Rodgers throw to you, or Tom Brady, or whoever, Kurt Warner back in the day. Like a lot of these guys, obviously you're a better wide receiver because you have a great quarterback. Dude, if Devontae Adams does happen to leave, he's going to be just fine. Like, obviously he's not going to want to go to play for some scrub quarterback, because scrub quarterbacks aren't good for great wide receivers. But like, Devontae Adams is not a lot. I'm not going to like disrespect guys and start naming people, but like, he's not a lot of these guys who leave. And a lot of those guys that did leave and that weren't successful were older. Like, their careers kind of were at the end of their thing. Devontae, he's not a young pup, but Devontae Adams is a very good wide receiver on his own. Like, he made Rodgers look as good as Rodgers made him look. I think Devontae Adams is very, very good at playing wide receiver.
Yeah, and then you factor in, the skill of it, the knowledge of the system, and then just how those two can look at each other and know where they want to be and how they get there. That's the X factor, right? That's what separates it. That's the thing that you can't necessarily just walk into another program and develop that with. But if you've watched Devontae Adams route running, if you've watched the ways that they can use him in the slot, on the perimeter, he's about as versatile as they get. It was funny. Somebody joked with him, I forget which reporter it was, about Deebo Samuel, right? And him being in the backfield. People forget this. Devontae did plenty of that too. I'm sure that's not where he wants to be, but in 2016, in different intervals when they needed help, they put him back there and they would spread him out wide, and they just to keep defenses honest. So the guy's as good as it gets. He's the best route runner I've ever seen, probably will ever see in a Packers uniform. He's a different type of player in that regard. And I mean, there's a reason why so many people are viewing him as like the top free agent available, if it would come to that, just because no one else can do what he does. Something else I want to mention too, though, with the Denver thing and these places where it's like, oh, you could pair up, Adams and Rodgers. Show me the amount of draft picks that a team could put together. You don't understand. You can't just trade 10 first-round draft picks. You get 3 years out, I think, is what it is, to be able to move future assets into the present. There's not enough to be able to attain, that many players.
Like, team them up like that, like it just.
You better start making trades to get more picks, because I mean that's what it would take, and I just feel like, and again, we'll see how the situation plays out. We're gonna find out soon enough. But there's going to be a scenario here where we're going to be able to just like sit back and have this situation unfold and just appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We got to talk about it until then. The thing with Rodgers and Devontae, it's kind of like me and my wife, If I get up and we're drinking beers, we're having a good time, maybe Friday night, I get up and she just lifts her hand. I know. All right, she wants another beer. I'm gonna get her one. The same thing with me. You know what I mean? I give her a little hat. We have a code at work. Like when I'm at work, I'm working, and my boss comes in because we come in before him. Yeah. People we have signs. We go like this, and that means he's here. So we the same thing with Devontae. Regular work people. We have signs too. We don't have all this stuff. We're not baseball players, but we got a little sign. I don't want to say too much because I think some people from work watch what I do. So I'm not. But
You don't want to give away the secrets.
I don't want to say too much. But I'm gonna ask about Super Bowl, and then I'll get you out of there so you can hang out with the wife for a little bit. And so who's winning? You know, first of all, Joe Burrow is probably the coolest person besides us. But you know, because us, you know, I mean, what do you do? You know
it doesn't get any better when you have a grown man with a squirrel in the background of his photo here. It's it doesn't get any cooler than that. You know what? Hey, this is what's going to be funny about being a Packers fan too. You want to know one more reason to have Aaron Rodgers around? All those top young quarterbacks are in the other freaking conference. I mean, between Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler. I mean, like all those top guys are over in the other sea. It's like Essos and Westeros, right? Or whatever that was in Game of Thrones. Like, you don't even have to deal with them. I love Burrow. Like he's great for the league. You know, between all those personalities, Mahomes and Josh Allen is just such a gamer. I mean, it was so fun watching. That's what I always said it before the 49ers game. I told people on our Packers Unscripted show and podcast, I was like, I don't ever really like go on the thing being like, oh, I hope the Packers win. Like I try to give people information, and we all know what the game is, but I really wanted them to win that game against the 49ers because I really wanted to care about those divisional round games the next day. That's how good the playoffs were. And Burrow, just watching him at LSU and then to see him, have the ACL setback, they come into this season. Some people are starting to wonder about Zach Taylor, if he's the right guy. And they've built the thing the right way. In so many ways, they remind me of the Packers with maybe a little bit more explosive receiving talent, just based on the fact that they've picked as high as they have. But it's incredible to watch because Burrow in this offense is so explosive, so exciting. Mixon's been there for a number of years now. Yeah, they have some questions on the offensive line, but it's an exciting brand of football. And defensively is like probably the most underrated unit in the NFL. I mean, the moves they've made, the Trey Hendrickson signing that everybody just kind of threw off and said he was a one-hit wonder. This guy has brought it. Sam Hubbard has brought it. They have so much talent. But then you mix that with what the Rams have done, which is we've built for this year. We don't have draft picks. We have one draft pick next year. Everything is in the here and now. This has probably been the most excited I've been to watch a Super Bowl because there isn't a Brady. There isn't a Mahomes. There isn't like this, hey, this is the star. All these guys have an opportunity to write a legacy for themselves. And if Joe Burrow at 25 years young wins a national championship, wins the Heisman, and wins the freaking Super Bowl before, he's even eligible to become a senator in this country. I mean, it's incredible to see this guy actually do what he's done. So I'm excited to watch it. Me personally, I think the Rams win it, but I'm not going to be disappointed either way. I just think there's a lot to like about the matchup.
I think that's like everyone's sentiment is I think the Rams are going to win, but like, you didn't say it completely, but like everyone's like, I hope the Bengals win it.
Yeah.
And like if the Rams win it, I'm going Bengals because I don't have a brain. I can just go all in heart. So that's how I work with the Packers. That's why I'm going with every other team as well.
I like it.
If the Rams win, good for Stafford. It shows the Lions, hey, you're a scrub team. You had this great quarterback this whole time, and he got traded and went and won a Super Bowl. I saw a lot of memes, people saying, just imagine if the Lions had a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, what they could do.
Yeah.
But if the Bengals win, dude, you got the whole Joe Burrow story. I can't say it no better than you just did. Joe Burrow just seems so cool. And that whole fan base, because like I'm more of a fan base type of guy. Like you're a reporter type of guy. I feel Bengals fans. Like they're so diehard. The fans in Ohio for the Browns and the Bengals, they're such good fans. They show up, they do their thing, dog pound, rah, 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 all those things for the Browns. Bengals, I'm sure that the same thing. And they deserve it, bro. They deserve to actually get to celebrate. I mean, most of Bengals fans today, they probably remember their dads talking about the 80s and still not winning it.
That package that Fox did before the divisional round games where they were talking to guys who are 9 years old and now are 40, the last time they were in the playoffs was really powerful. And the Bengals fan base deserves it obviously a lot more than the Rams does, just based on how they've rallied around this football team. And, the Rams, I'll tell you what, man, if you're in LA and you're a football fan and you're not enjoying this run right now, you don't deserve it. I mean, it's incredible what they've been able to do.
I don't think they are. The Rams
no.
fans,
It's a shame.
You live in LA, you know what I mean? Like you live in LA, like Like, whatever, bro. Like, win or lose, we're gonna go to the beach.
But yeah, exactly. But Stafford being able to rewrite his legacy is just incredible.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers saying the compliments that he said about Stafford all these years. He wasn't placating him. He wasn't just trying to be, just put out stuff for the sake of saying it. He respected what Stafford did. I respected what Stafford did.
I did too. I think Stafford's a tough dude. That play when his shoulder's like out of socket.
Yeah.
They call a timeout. He's like, "Oh, he called timeout. I can go back in. I'll be all right." I think he like slung it. I think it was a 2-point conversion. And then he's just after he did it, he like hurt his shoulder. Like Stafford's an absolute beast. I got respect for him. The Lions are an absolute joke. So like they just wasted.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you almost wonder like if Stafford needed to be a little bit younger, but if you could get him with Dan Campbell now in the direction they're going, they just waited too long. I mean, the guy's got to be able to compete for a title. He can't just keep rebuilding. You have to give him a chance. And kudos to them for actually giving him that opportunity. This game, though, man, as much as we talk about Burrow, as much as we talk about Stafford, for me, it really is what that Rams defensive front and Aaron Donald does against that offensive line from Cincy. I think it's honestly settled there. I think if they get pressure on Burrow, God bless him. The kid is really talented, but that's probably the best defensive front in the NFL against probably one of the weaker offensive lines. Now, since he's credit, if they can stop that, I think they have a really good chance here with how explosive they can be. But that's going to be the ultimate telltale sign. Can Aaron Donald and that team, now that they finally advanced to a Super Bowl again, can they kind of change the narrative from what happened 4 years ago?
Yeah, and that is actually the same as I think I say is like, can that offensive line stop that defensive line, or at least withhold it, give Burrow enough time? And if Stafford does throw you a few gifts, are you going to catch him? Because every now and again, Stafford gets a little Brett Favre-ish. He just says screw it and just chucks that thing. Yeah. And the Niners dropped one that really benefited the Rams. I think that I forget who it was on the Niners, but legend has it he's still in the field crying about that.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
And I'm not trashing the Niners because they beat the Packers, but like that was like right in his arms. And that's what happens in football, Sometimes the quarterback will just throw it right to you. And sometimes those easy, I think Adrian Amos said it, where he's like, those easy ones are the ones that are the hardest because they're like, it's right there, and it's right here.
Well, it's unfortunate too because it happens in a spur of a moment, but then that moment lives forever, right? And that's the beauty of sports. It's just that those things you have to be right at that moment. Of course, he can catch that pass. He's probably caught it 1,000 times during training camp, but you have to be able to execute in that moment. And to be honest, and this is no disrespect to San Francisco, but it's like I'm glad that the Rams pulled it out. Yeah. Not only because I'm sure the fan base would have been really hurt if the Packers would not have been in the Super Bowl and the 49ers were. But the 49ers, with all due respect to them, again, I keep saying that, but it was a tough football team to watch. It really was. I mean, it's when it's that obvious what the game is going to be and what is going to happen. I mean, basically you need to find a way to score 17, 20 points and you win. That's not great. That's not great for the league. I think, if they can, find a quarterback, find which direction they want to go with the offense. That's going to be a team that's going to be in it for the next few years. But I think everybody would agree. I mean, the Rams with Cooper Kupp, potentially the offensive player. That's what you want to see in a Super Bowl, and not just kind of a cerebral, kind of offense and deliberate, offense that the 49ers are running with Jimmy G.
And like I'll say this with full disrespect to the 49ers, I'm so happy that they lost. I don't think Jimmy G is that good of a quarterback. Like he's good enough to get the job done when the team is built around. I don't mean disrespect for Jimmy G as a person.
No, seems like a good dude.
Like as a player, the Niners have had my team's number, so like I do not like them. I had a Niners fan on my podcast who I met at the Packer game. Who was a good guy. He had a hard time getting out of there, but that's why I had him on. But I don't like the 49ers. And I'm glad that they lost. I hope they lose a whole bunch next year. I hope they lose a lot of players. I hope that they don't make the playoffs. I do not like the 49ers. I haven't liked them since I was a kid, like in the 90s. Like the 49ers had the Packers numbers back then. I don't like the 49ers. I like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, their history, all that good stuff. But I hate the 49ers.
Well, think about it. You had the Terrell Owens catch. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, right?
So much brutalness.
So
happened between our fan bases and
Yeah.
our teams. But all right, so I'm gonna let you out of here. But I want to ask you one last question. All right, so I'm starting a call-in show.
Oh,
Like for next week, I think I'm gonna start it where
yeah.
I have fans call in. I don't have like all the fancy equipment. I got a few things. I got a little mixer over here. I don't know how to use it, but I'm just gonna put it up to the microphone, my phone, because I have a grasshopper number. But anyway, it's gonna work. All right.
Yeah, I bet it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know what the audio quality is going to be, but it'll work.
It a go. But have you ever done that? Like coming up, you know what I mean? Now you're the, work for the Packers, but have you ever coming up, have you ever done maybe radio? I don't know what you've done, but have you ever been involved in a call-in show?
Like twice. I filled in. There's a show called Mino and Nick back in the day in Green Bay. It was on WNFL. Nick Vetrano, John Mino. And
John Mino, he's I like him.
Yeah, I give
cut you off.
No, but that's where it started. Like, I give them so much credit and I owe them so much because they gave me an opportunity to get on and really get some reps early on, whether it was my time as a preps writer at the Press Gazette or when I was covering Packers. They gave me a huge opportunity, and I love those guys. I thank them so much for that. So between doing some of that work and some of the stuff that I did with Justin Hall down in Appleton, I got to do some co-hosting there and getting a chance to actually like sit for 2 hours and try to be like a host, so to speak, and not just the guest. So that kind of stuff I am familiar with. And I will tell you, it is interesting being on that side of it and not really being completely sure what the person on the other side of the phone is going to end up saying. But fortunately, I wasn't working for those companies, so I didn't really have to worry about it. People, for the most part, were pretty professional about it and were cool. So, yeah, I wish you lots of luck. Hopefully it goes well.
I don't have a producer. It just can be me and just like letting anybody just hop on in this thing.
Give it a shot.
And, a lot of people don't like me, so I think I've done it before, right? Because I'm sponsored by Quick Trip, so this is a clean show, which it was clean before I was sponsored by Quick Trip, just because I know a lot of people watch me in their car with their kids, and I was always clean, so I'm like, why not just keep it that way? I think it's good that people can listen. And I've had people message me, there's not a ton of shows that you can listen to with your kids in the car. A lot of people swear or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've
had
a couple times call in before and actually just say like the most horrible words, like racist stuff, and it wasn't because they were asking a question. It was just they were just trying to just say random words, just horrible words. But at that time, I was really horrible at sending my audio, so it didn't work. So no one heard it.
Good. No, that's perfect.
So hopefully this time around,
you want to pull it better. You want to pull a fast one on me? Well, guess what? I don't know what I'm doing, so you're out of luck.
You tried, but I don't know what I'm doing, so no one heard it. But that's why I think the beautiful thing, using my phone, I'm going to use this other mic. As soon as if someone's saying something not right, I can pull it away. That mic's pretty sensitive. No one can hear it. We're going to test it out. I think for the most part, it'll be right. I don't have a problem with like Bears fans and Viking fans coming on saying I'm a moron. I just don't want people to get cussy and like get all crazy with it.
Maybe by next season you'll have like the 6-second delay thing, right? Where you can you push the button. We're going to commercial.
Actually, I don't think I can do it.
Maybe don't.
Did you hear that?
I
don't think, because I have the wrong thing. But this mixer has like a censor button, but it's live. So like if I hit it, it's too late. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But anyways, I'm gonna let you get out of here. So
you censor the word after the bad word.
Yeah. So someone said something, and then if I can figure out how to do it, that's way above my.
At least
knowledge.
The effort was there. Then I was trying to actually keep that off of my show.
As they call me, as they cuss me out, I'm beeping it after they hang up. Maybe if they do it, I'll just put their phone number on my Facebook page and let everyone. I think that's illegal.
Hey, is that really?
Someone told me that because after that happened with the last person that said all those bad things, I was really upset. I didn't realize that no one heard it at first. And I was like, I should put their phone number on my Facebook page and say, everyone call this person. Oh. And then someone's like, that's illegal. You can't do that. That is like considered like you're bringing bullying and you're bringing bad, harassment on a person, which I don't want to do that. But I will. I'll just sign them up for a bunch of magazines. That's what I'll do. I'll just put their phone number all over the internet.
See if you can just like do a bunch of stuff for hey, call me back.
At them, like spammers. And then
Oh, you're trying to sell me like a, like a, a
Yeah, call
timeshare
me.
down in
Call me
Florida?
tomorrow at 5.
Give me
Here's
a
my
ring.
number. Oh, that's fantastic. That's good
Uh,
stuff.
all
But
right. Did I give you everything you needed?
I think you did. Everyone, Wes Hodkiewicz, the best reporter for the Packers. He's a digital reporter. You can find him on Twitter. I think and Instagram, bro.
And
Uh,
Instagram.
You're posting all types of good stuff on Instagram. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get out of here. A happy anniversary to you and your wife. Tell your wife thank you, and I apologize for keeping you so long.
No, it's all good,
But
brother.
you'll have so many more anniversaries. You guys are gonna live a long life, happiness. You know what I mean? All the things you're gonna do, all the things. But I appreciate you taking the time to talk some football with me. This is
Yeah,
very important
absolutely,
stuff we're
buddy.
doing.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me back on, and yeah, hopefully have a good off
You're a
season
friend
here.
of the show, like as they say. So I'm gonna have you on a
Oh,
lot more. Yeah, you're a friend. I don't have many. I have a few enemies of the show, but not a lot of friends of the show.
do I get like a badge on there, like friend of
You
the show,
should.
Wes Hodkiewicz?
If I was a better, I'd have overlays and stuff. I'm working on overlays, and
Yeah, okay.
but they're a lot of work to give them
Well,
level. I had one, but they weren't level, so I was like, I'll just go with the name things for now.
it's not easy. Yeah.
It
Yeah, it's
isn't. I
crazy.
need
I mean,
to.
the way all this stuff works, that's why I'm always happy to be on the guest side of things rather than actually trying to run a show. It's not fun. So,
It's not. But I truly appreciate you taking the time, especially on your anniversary. Go enjoy it and watch a movie, do all the things that people do on their anniversaries when they got all the family stuff going on at work. But thanks for stopping by, everyone. Check out Wes Hodkiewicz. Very tough name. Harder to spell than it is to say. It's very hard to say. But thanks for stopping by, my man.
all right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right. So that was Wes. All right. You can find him at like all the places we said on Twitter. He's a great person. He's on TV. He's on all the places. You know what I mean? I appreciate everyone who listened. Be sure to subscribe if you're listening on the podcast. Be sure to follow if you're watching on the Facebook. Subscribe on the YouTube. Go to MattRamageShop.com if you want to get some Bear Still Suck gear, some Viking Still Suck gear. We're gonna have some more merch coming out soon, and all of the big shot to Quick Trip. You can also go to QuickTripMerch.com. They got all the Quick Trip merch over there for you. Go Pack, go people. Thanks for tuning in. And I missed the button, bro. That would have been a good exit. But here we go. Go Pack, go people. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Oh, I missed the button.